What is good, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning back in. This is episode 3 of the SoulCast. I really appreciate you guys. Do me a favor before we get started with this week's episode. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that jazz. I really want to hear you guys' input on what I can do to make this show better and better. Tell me who you think you want on the show. I'm open to suggestions. Let me know. This week, we got a great show for you. This is one of the longest ones I've ever recorded. This is my boys, Ryan and Rob, from the band Cellophane. Now, this is a project I've seen sort of start from the ground up. These guys are psychedelic rock duo. They're incredible. They create some of the most ethereal, sort of weird, out there, trippy music that you just want to drop a tab of acid and just watch the stars to. It's amazing. They've been sending me over demos, and their new debut project is going to be out very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll be giving updates as they get closer and closer to a drop date, and I'll let everybody know what's going on with that. But without further ado, here we are. Cellophane, Rob, and Ryan. Bang. We are live. What's up, boys?
What up?
Hello.
We have my favorite psychedelic duo of miscreants, Cellophane, in the house. Well, not in my house technically, but you guys are somewhere. What's up?
What up?
What's up?
Dude.
Going on a Sunday.
Yeah.
We got my boy Rob on the right, my boy Ryan on the left. Tell the world what you guys have been doing.
I don't know. It's definitely been an interesting pandemic. My first one. And I don't
My
know.
second.
Your second?
Yeah. Pre-pandemic, though, we locked ourselves in my bathroom for 2 years.
Uh-oh.
And
So
recorded.
you had your own quarantine.
I guess
We
so.
had like a weekly quarantine for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
I wonder what you could be doing for 4 hours in a
Locked in
bathroom.
the bathroom. The issue is it's not even a big bathroom.
No, it's a tiny bathroom.
Hmm.
We would take his acoustic guitar, his electric guitar,
A
One or
$10 amp that I bought at Guitar Center.
and then is that the small amp or the
Yep.
big amp?
No,
small
the big amp was $200.
The big amp was $200. We would bring that in there too sometimes. Yeah, and we would just work on these different songs we just kind of come up with.
Hell yeah.
And yeah.
So explain your guys' sound. Like you guys, I listened to the demos you sent over, and you guys are like this crazy psychedelic folk, trippy, like Pink Floyd era, but almost reaching into the stratosphere of new age.
So Cellophane started as if Pink Floyd made Beatles songs. And then slowly,
Well, if Pink Floyd made Beatles songs very poorly.
or alternatively, if like the Beach Boys made Pink Floyd songs.
Amateurish.
Emphasis on the word shitty. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
but our over the course of writing, the 18 to 20 songs that we have under us right now, our mission statement kind of changed, at least for the album that we're finishing, to be the album that we wanted when we were like between 19 and 22, because that's really a lot of the themes that we are exploring, both musically and lyrically, I feel like. So once that happens, the album really ended up taking shape and taking on its own kind of structure of its own.
Hell yeah. Dude, I mean, like I said, like it's very, I was talking to Rob earlier in the week, and we were discussing sort of like, I guess you could say the inspiration behind this and sort of the style it's going into. And he was like, dude, this is the type of music that, I'm not quoting you because I forget exactly what you said, but it was something along the lines of like, this is the type of album you turn on, you drop a tab, you do a couple mushrooms, you pick your psychedelic and go on a journey, like sit back and just let the world like.
As someone who's done it, highly recommended. Yeah. Yeah.
And you guys
we have to listen to your own music sober. And it's enjoyable in other frames of mind. So that's
listening to your own music high is weird. It's a very strange experience.
Yeah.
I remember I listened to 13 one time when I was just smoking a little bit of weed, and I was like, oh my God, that's me. And like you sort of realize that at that moment that it comes from somewhere else. You know, it's not really it is you, but it's not really just you making all the music. You feel me? It's like there's something divine coming down through you
No,
that
see,
you channel.
the thing about music and the thing that I love about creating music is it's a language that we all can speak, and it's something that you can't even really control a lot of the times. You know, you can mimic it, but when you're really in it and when you're really creating it and when you're really just in the feeling of what you're doing, you're right. Like you're not there. Like you're channeling something else. Like you're playing something the universe is playing for you.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy,
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Rob, you've been quiet, bro. Tell me what's going on in your head about Cellophane, man. I want to hear, because when we talked on the phone, you had a lot to say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird talking. I guess it's weird talking about your own music, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to just like, all right, this is what I did, this is what I did, this is what I did.
See, I do that for a living, so it doesn't even bother me anymore. I'm just like, hey, ah.
No, it's a lot of fun to make. I don't know. It's you know, it's kind of like a nice way, I guess, from my own point of view, of just like where I guess kind of where like my own thoughts and like your own kind of fears and little anxieties and thoughts about this type of situation or this or that can kind of go and kind of sound and try to almost like kind of paint a picture in people's, you know, kind of people's heads about like, oh, this is what I've felt, or this is what I've gone through, this is what I've experienced. And I think there's, I don't know, just something really kind of universal about this kind of shared experience of like, you know, going through like when things aren't going your way, or when you're like kind of feeling these like feelings of like, oh, like what do I do with my life? I know on this this album we're working on, it's called Someday. It's kind of this almost concept about this like kind of aimlessness I know I felt after like college. And
oh, that's a huge thing, man.
well,
I feel
yeah,
like a lot of people are really suffering from the fact that, like, you know, you get out of college, you spent 4 years there doing what? You spent 4 years there hanging out with only people your age, drinking massive amounts of booze, doing massive amounts of drugs, having massive amounts of sex, and you get out in the real world and you realize you're like, oh, not everybody does this all day, every day.
yeah,
And it really, there's like a post, the only thing I can compare it to, which I've never had, but like the postpartum depression that women get after like going through this crazy experience, and then you're like, oh, I guess I gotta go to my 9-to-5 job every day and fucking make money and pay bills and do taxes, and but you know what I mean, there's like a weird hangover that persists for years. I know for me personally, man, it lasted years until I really felt like I was out of college. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's well, yeah, it's like it's almost like this hangover. Where,
100%.
you know, just this massive years-long hangover where like you're kind of like almost like waking up in a way, and you're like, wow, I've you know, I spent 12 years in school with like my parents and my teachers telling me this is what you're supposed to be doing and this is what you have to be shooting for. And then, you know, you, at least for my own experience, I got to my senior year, my parents are like, all right, it's time to go to college and you got to do this, this, and that. And then you do this, this, and that. And you're going through college and your professors are telling you, all right, this is what you should be doing, this, and then that. And then you get out and it's just like, all right, cool. And then you're like, you wake up after graduation the very next day and you're just kind of, I don't know, I was just sitting in my bed and I was like, all right, now what?
Now what? Exactly.
What
Bro,
do I do?
It's a creepy feeling. It really is.
It's, there's this movie we sample a shitload on this album, Graduate. And it's kind of this movie where Dustin Hoffman's character, Ben, kind of goes through, he graduates college with like high honors and he's like editor of the school paper, and he was this accomplished athlete and, you know, 4.0 GPA and all that, and he goes to this graduation party and all these adults and friends of his parents are like telling him about how great he is and he's got this big future, and he's just kind of like, what do I do? What is going on? And he ends up just like drifting in this pool. He spends most of the summer drifting in a pool and like kind of looking at the scene, like, you know, now graduated college and trying to figure that out myself. It's like, shit. Like, I feel like my last 3 years have just been me drifting on this floaty, not knowing what the heck to do.
It's funny in a way how, and maybe it's specifically for our generation, like how 60s styles have rotated back in.
Yeah.
But I am surprised at how relative that feeling still is, like that, like post college aimlessness, and like I don't want to do anything almost, but I don't even know what I would do in the first place if I were to want to do anything.
Yeah.
Even though like I've been working towards doing something for my whole fucking life. And that's really the what I got out of it, because I mean, my post-college experience was completely different than Rob's. My girlfriend and I of 5 years broke up, and you know, my whole entire world essentially like came back to zero. I moved back in with my parents. The restaurant I was working at for, you know, 5 years also fucking closed. So I was like at zero, and I was just working at like the Hilton Garden Inn, and I ended up just dropping everything that I had left, which wasn't much, and traveling the country for 4 months with a couple buddies of mine.
Dude, tell us about that, man. I really like, this is one of the things I'm super excited to talk about with you specifically. It's like,
it gave me the time to, I guess, start to figure out who I was now, if that makes any sense. You know, this all happened when I was 21. I turned 22 while I was on the road. I was actually in Northern California being a homeless vagrant at the time. Having the time of my life, though. Highly recommended to everybody who can do it.
I remember getting a call from you when you were hanging out with Cool Whip.
Cool Whip.
Cool Whip? Who's Cool Whip?
Cool Whip. He's a cool guy, and he can whip some shit up real quick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he, man, I wish I had a good way to describe him. I might have shown him Cooking with Cool Whip.
You know what?
I don't think I saw it.
You haven't seen Cooking with Cool Whip?
So
it's a video I took on the road. So I'll tell you about how I met Cool Whip. I think it's the best way to do it. So there was this place in Redway, California, which was a community center, which actually functioned as a community center. How do I describe this place? It's a fantasy land that we were in. It's the last Wild West that exists in the United States. There's, you know, it's known for being the place where all the weed is grown. So you go there to try to get a trim job up on a mountain with some cool home growers. But, you know, the problem is it was 2015, 2016, and fucking, you know, you got the US government up there, you got the Mexican mafia up there, you got just fucking a bunch of fucking crankheads, you got a bunch of fucking people just trying to escape the law in other states, knowing that they can disappear in this area of the country because it's so lawless and free. So it was legitimately the Wild West. I mean, it was like gangster hippies.
Gangster, bro, you got to make a TV show. You got to pitch somebody a TV show called Gangsta Hippie.
Yeah, so me and my two boys, Noodles and Knuckles, those are their road names. We have been writing over the course of time, more so in our heads, but I have written a good amount of it down. An animated Adult Swim style TV show based on our experiences.
Whoa.
Ow.
I know. Wear headphones, bro. That rattled. That one.
So anyway, we're at the Mateel Community Center for a free lunch that they give for all these homeless and vagrant people, because this essentially turns into a tourist town. Have you ever been to Woodstock?
Not yet. I'm surprised I haven't, because I live right there. You know what I mean?
Imagine like a small town in Vermont.
Yeah.
That's essentially what like Garberville and Redway were. most of the year, but then during harvest season, they turned into complete tourist towns because people were, number one, selling and buying, but number two, people were just trying to get jobs because they heard that they could. Um, so we're at the Mateel Community Center for a free lunch with a bunch of other sketchy people who are all in dirty clothes and being hippies and smoking a bunch of pot. And we're like hanging out outside, you know, just shooting the shit, smoking cigarettes and stuff. And I hear from behind me this old sounding man going, "Oh, I guess nobody wants to smoke a joint then." So I turn around and I go, I'll smoke a joint. And this man is like a giant cartoon rooster with like a long ponytail and rotting teeth. And he's very just animated when he talks. He ended up taking Molly out of his wallet. We did Molly the first time that we met together with like 10 other people. And then we ended up living, we built somewhat of a camp on this place called Hippie Hill, which was just this hill in between two freeway off ramps where all the vagrants would go because it was mostly a safe place. And, you know, it was segmented, you know, like cities were. We had like Little Italy, we had Chinatown, and we had Little New York, which is where we were because we were the boys from New York. And Camp Cool Whip was also a lawless place, but Cool Whip could whip some shit up real quick. And by real quick, I mean like 9 hours of cooking.
Damn.
Hands down was the best chicken I'll ever eat in my life, though. He would heat up this charcoal grill and literally let it heat up for like 2 hours and then put the chicken on and just like let it slow roast and baste it for 6 to 8 hours. We would be eating at 4 a.m. sometimes.
Oh my God. But it was worth it.
Well worth it.
Damn. Dude.
Yeah.
You got some wild and crazy hippie inclinations, man. Going out to like that's I think something that doesn't really, at least not to my knowledge, exist in the Northeast, right? Is like a real
There's no place like that.
Wandering like ascetic vagrants that just kind of
I've been across this country 2 times.
I feel like the weather kind of stops that from really being able to exist in a way like that way.
The weather's the same.
Oh yeah. And you don't even see homeless people here.
It's like almost the same level as where New York is on the line where I was.
Do they get like snow?
There's not really snow, but they have a severe rain season. And if you go into the mountains, you do get snow. Yes.
Is it like a culture thing, you think?
For sure. I mean, like where I was, at least, you know, like Humboldt County was a lumber village place. I don't know. It was the main economy there, especially after like hemp became illegal. But then all of the big company lumber people came in and they had to move out. There's some hazy parts of the story I don't remember here. Long story short, though, it's the only place that Highway 101 doesn't go through on the coast. It actually kind of goes around it. So it's easily just a place that you can go and hide. And it's a place that you can go. And right below it is, not Sonoma. Sonoma? Where wine is grown.
Oh yeah, it's Sonoma.
South. It's a little bit of a warmer climate. So a little bit north, you have a little bit crisper air and you have a lot more rain. And that is the perfect climate to grow all sorts of weed. Oh, that's my phone. I'm sorry.
You good? All good. No worries.
And it just over time just became this. It was where the Grateful Dead hung out. It was like where the Grateful Dead family, if you've ever heard the term, kind of got started. Or maybe that was more San Francisco. But that was where they all went and vacationed and like lived. And like the really old deadheads, like you can tell, like it was a time back in the day. And now it's just kind of like a underground tourist place.
It sounds to me like you were like, it sounds like you were like an archaeologist, like uncovering this crazy.
We discovered it by accident the first time we did it. Like we had no intentions of going to this place. We just got told about it, and we're like, yeah, you know what? Let's see what happens. And then the car broke down when we got there, so we had no choice but to stick it out for a while.
Oh my God, dude. That's like a movie. That's honestly, that's like what you hear about in a movie. And
literally, and that's all like the second half of the journey. There's the whole traveling there that we skipped.
We'll go into it, man. I got time. Let's hear about something. Hear about some crazy stories.
I remember the first time I got a call from you.
When was that?
So he just like, what year was it? 2015? So like, I'm friends with him for like going on 3 years now at this point. And I think maybe one time he mentions on a phone call, hey, I'm thinking about driving across the country. But anyway, long story so he then just disappears. Like no text, no phone. He's just gone. Until randomly, like 2 or 3 months later, I get a call from him and he's like, hey, Rob, it's Ryan. I'm out in California right now. I'm in like a commune or something, or like a camping ground.
Yeah.
With like these other hippies, with like all these hippie hell, that was it, right?
Camp Cool Whip.
Camp Cool Whip.
Were you convinced at this point that he joined a cult?
No. I was just like, holy shit, okay, all right. And he's like, so I've got this guy Cool Whip on with me. He wants to talk to you, and he just hands him the phone. And I just hear this like fucking crusty ass dude comes in, and he's just like, this is all I hear. I'm like sitting on so I'm in like New York right now. Yeah, this is 2015. Sounds like 20.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like playing Xbox. I get this call from Ryan Cody, who I haven't heard from in like 3 months.
I still owed you pictures for your album cover.
Oh yeah, back when it was Thunder Punch, the Thunder Punch album. He took the original album cover.
The people we used to be. God damn.
And he just disappeared with the album photos. Like I texted him like, hey, can you get those?
They were terrible.
They were terrible. They were terrible.
They were so bad. I didn't care.
But
I took those photos.
But yeah, so this Cool Whip dude, it was like a 15-minute phone call of just this dude Cool Whip, just like, hey, how you doing?
Oh my God.
Like, Ryan, why am I on the phone with him? Like, I'm just like kind of trying to figure out like what was going on, and then Ryan just comes in and he's like, yeah, that was Cool Whip. He just, I don't know, he felt like he needed to tell you that.
You don't even know what he said, right?
I don't even know what it was he didn't tell me. That reminds me of the time. Remember 6'1" the bar, 6'9" the barber, 6'1"?
6'1" the barber,
6'1" the
because
barber.
he was in the &1 basketball team. Oh my God, this
yeah.
feels like it was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I bring that up is because like we knew this other dude in the New School of Radio and Television who would just go on these
scam.
Which is a scam. All right, yo, I know a lot of people that went to New School. While we're on the topic of that, bro, I want to know what makes you think it's a scam.
Oh, it's
okay, so I'll tell you the story about how I graduated.
Oh, wait, hold on. First, we're talking about 6'7".
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Tell me about 6'1".
Dude, oh my God, we could spend 20 minutes telling about
6'1" was going to eat Dan Barney's pussy all night and spin him around like a fucking bastard.
Damn.
All right, hold on. They need context. Jeez, Ryan, you can't just jump into that story without a little bit.
So this guy was frightening.
Yeah, so this dude's name was 6'1" the barber. He had a business card that he handed out to all of us. I had mine for like 4 years. Never called him once, and it said it was 6. Wasn't it 6 O-N-E?
I don't know.
It was like 6'1".
I don't remember.
The barber. That was his name.
Was he a barber?
Barber. Yeah, he was this dude in our class. And was he the one with the crazy camera, or was that Phil?
They both had one.
They both had crazy ass cameras. So we all had like these like shitty little Canon Vixias.
And then they come in with these like old, like over the shoulder fucking like news cameras.
Oh my God.
And this guy 6'1" is easily 45. Big old black guy, adult. Always comes in loud as fuck. Just like, wow, who smells like fucking a weed plant? Oh, it must be this guy with a giant duffel bag.
Yeah, the double. So there's this one kid in our class he didn't like. His name was Dan Varney. Hi, Dan, if you're seeing this.
What's up, Dan Varney?
Dan Varney. I think he's at Best Buy.
Does he still work at Best Buy?
I think he's at Best Buy.
He got married.
We did get married. I know. Oh my God, we talk about Dan Vardy swagger tagger. That's so 2013. All right,
it doesn't
so
exist anymore. Move on with the future.
Sorry. Anyways, so Six did not like Dan Vardy. I don't honestly remember why, because I don't remember them ever interacting with each other.
Dan Vardy was a fucking nerd, just like us.
Yeah. So Six comes over to me and Ryan one day when we're sitting in our chairs, and he's just like, "Yo." So was Dan at his seat just across the room? Yeah. So Dan's just. It's a room it's a classroom. So Dan's just sitting on the other side of the room, and Six comes over and tells us that he's like, "Yeah, that Dan Varney, I don't like him. If we were in prison or something, what I would do is I would pick him up, and I would put him on my finger, and I would start spinning him around. I was on my finger, and I'd start eating out his pussy like this, like." I swear to God, this is exactly how it is. It's got to be around like maybe 8:45 in the morning.
Oh my God.
And he's going on and on about this. I don't remember that we were even talking to him before he told the story. As far as I can remember,
he just started.
Him and I were sitting at our seats, and he walked over to us and just started going into this. We didn't really talk to him.
As I recall, he was still sitting in his chair because we weren't that far away.
Did he kind of roll over a little bit?
Yeah, and Phil was sitting next to him.
We were just like watching this. So Dan's a guy. He doesn't have a vagina
that you know of.
That we know of.
I don't know.
But Tish was just talking about how if he was in prison, he'd spin around and eat out his pussy.
My favorite 6-1 story, hands down, in the New School of Radio and Television, which is in the same building as the Department of Goddamn Homeland Security, and I have accidentally walked into there 2 times.
Me too. I've done it once.
So where exactly? All right.
My interview.
Back up for people who don't know. Explain what the New School of Radio and Television is.
It's a scam.
It's a scam. It's like it's just a Ponzi scheme. Move on.
It's a place that has a program that's also in conjunction with Hudson Valley Community College.
Not anymore. I don't think so. Not anymore.
Also known as Harvard on the Hudson, where most of us went.
13th grade.
Big time.
God, you just made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. So anyway, it's like a trade school. So you can go there and you can learn television and video production, which is what we did. You can learn newscasting, which would be like a broadcaster and somebody who goes out and does the reporting. Or you could learn music production, which was like literally on the complete other side of the whole building.
Mm-hmm. It was odd. I remember the very first day we got there, they gave us this long speech where they sat everyone down in a big room, which in 2020 is weird to think about now.
Oh, yeah.
Which now that bothers me. Like, just looking back, for some reason, it bothers me. I was in a large crowd without a mask.
I don't even remember ever being in that room again because it was in the music section.
We weren't. We weren't.
Music production section.
They sat us all down, and they're like, all right, so here's the deal. Don't talk to anyone else in any other classes. Don't go into the room.
Yeah.
Don't talk to the teacher. Don't talk to him if you see him in the hallway. Don't go into the rooms and talk to him. Don't bother him ever. Okay, enjoy your time here.
Fucking why?
Because it's a scam. So, oh God, how do I even describe this? I don't know. I guess that's we learned how to make like news packages. We shot some commercials for like our final projects and shit like that.
We hung out with Cog.
We hung out with David Foltzcog, who was a News 10 videographer for like 15 years or something. I believe
he did win an Emmy.
He won an Emmy for shooting the wildfires in California. I forget which year, but it happens every year, so it's hard to remember.
The second year we were with him, we weren't with him, but he shared the room. We shared a room with another class.
Yeah.
That we weren't supposed to talk to.
It was strange.
But what do they feel like? Like you guys are just all right? These are the fucking vagrant degenerates. They're just gonna like corrupt the other one.
In school, it was like that.
Why?
I just don't understand why though. That's such a weird thing to say.
You got to keep them separated. I have no fucking idea.
Separate but equal? Were they trying to bring back Jim Crow or some shit? Like what were they doing?
It's the 3 cents compromise.
Like I don't understand. Oh well, all right. But anyway, new school.
We didn't say any of that.
No, we might have to cut
Scam.
that. We might have to cut that part out. Fucking bringing up the 3-fist compromise.
He started it.
I did start it. That's fair.
He did start it. And
So-
you wind me up, it's hard to stop.
The new school for television. Here's the thing that I've heard about it, right? Because I know a lot of people. I went to an internship when I was in Oneonta. That was the guy that ran it graduated from new school, and all the people that he hired graduated from new school too. And these guys were cocaine addicts.
Nice.
Cog.
It was cock. No, were they the
We
same?
don't.
I wonder if they were the
Never
same
prove it.
guys I had
Never
it in.
prove it.
Never. No.
Not accusing them, but
Cog would leave the classroom every 20 minutes the second semester.
and he like always seemed nervous.
Was he itchy right here? And
Yeah, because we knew him for like 4 or 5 months the previous year, and he did not act like that.
Literally every 20 minutes, he'd put his fucking giant coat on and be like, all right, I'm going out to the car.
man, I got a wild story about intern. Speaking of new school, this internship was insane. I had one night so it's like he just did gig based work. Like he didn't really have a schedule. He's just like, all right, meet me at this place and we're gonna set up, play the gig, and tear down. Like it was just kind of a live audio production outfit, right? We went to, it was somewhere in Vermont. I forget where, but it was right across the border, like right there. You could drive. It's 40 minutes away from where I live, right? But I had to meet him in Albany, and then we had to drive out there. So it was like an hour and a half.
Albany?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was that?
Terrible
Right, stop
place.
interrupting.
Terrible place.
Jesus.
So we had to go from my house 40 minutes down to Albany, and then from his house like an hour out to Vermont. So we were in the car for an hour and a half. We set up this gig at, I want to say like 8 in the fucking morning, like really, really, really early. And it's a hospital. They're doing a benefit of, I don't know, for investors or some shit. I'm not really sure, but it's like a black tie thing. He's like, you got to bring like fancy dress attire, everything like that. So we get there, change, set up, and we work the gig the whole day from 8 a.m. Doesn't break for lunch, breakfast, dinner, anything. We worked the entire gig from 8 a.m. all the way around the clock. Now it's right around like 9 p.m. And he's like, oh, they give us pizza in the back room. We eat some. They're being served like filet mignon and fucking like caviar, and we're eating the shitty local pizza that's just like a brick.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, like a brick with some American cheese on it. It's awful, right? At 9 p.m., I haven't had anything to eat all day. I'm exhausted, right? Finally, it's right around, I want to say 2 or 3 a.m. I've been awake now for almost a full 24 hours with no food, just guzzling water, like coffee, trying to stay a little bit awake, right? We're tearing the place down, and this is a huge gig. We have to set up, there's a giant TV screen that we have to set up. We have to set up like 2 auxiliary TVs in the back for people that can't fit in the main room, all these speakers. It takes hours. Tear down, get ready. We pack in the car. I'm like, all right, finally, I'm gonna make it. I keep having to like pep talk myself. I'm like, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. We're just gonna pack this shit in and go home. 3:30 a.m. rolls around. He gets a text from the guy that owns the hospital, who's like, I guess his longtime friend or some shit. And he's like, oh, so and so wants us to come hang out for a little while. I was like, come hang out? I was like, bro, how are you even awake? This is before I realized what the fuck kind of crazy shit they do to stay awake. I was like, how are you even awake? This is insanity, right? Like normal people don't do this shit. I want you to know. We had worked that whole weekend was like a 40-hour work week. It was insane. So we get to this barn that's like this is like a farm property where they had this whole thing. We get to this barn and he pulls up. He's like, we're just going to stop in, say some hellos, make some appearances, and then leave. Because this guy, and he warns me, he's like, this guy owns the whole hospital. He's worth like $20 to $40 million or something crazy. This guy's a big deal, and I want to, be in his good graces. I was like, okay, fucking whatever. So we get in this garage. The dude comes up to me, never met me in my life. Old dude, maybe 65, old white guy in a suit, coked out of his brain, comes up to me and hugs me. He's like, it's great to see you again. I was like, I've never met you, but hi. It's 3:30 in the fucking morning, right? He sees the I'll bleep out his name. He sees the guy that I'm working for, gives him a hug. and, and I'm like, at this point, I'm like, all right, so what? We're just gonna hang out, have a few beers with this guy, and then go home, right? No, this guy has a whole tray about the size of my laptop, just laid out with lines of Coke, and he's just casually just like Wolf of Wall Street in it, right in this barn. Him and his buddy, and they start like this old dude. I think it was like two of his sons and a bunch of people that worked for him that were like, they just got in like this wrestling match. And I'm sitting there like barely awake. They're offering me Coke. I'm like, if I can't do Coke and then drive home, this is not going to work. You know what I mean? Keep in mind, we had an hour drive back to Albany to unload all the shit. And then I got a 40-minute drive home. Right?
Yeah.
So these guys, they're just doing rails of Coke and being crazy. I had one beer just to like be polite, but I was like, I can't, like, I'm going to pass out. I haven't had anything to eat. I'm skin and bone right now. Finally, we leave. And the dude at this point, like, cause I didn't take his Coke, he was all like skeptical of me. He's like, it's like fucking cop. Blah. You know what I mean? He's like being all weird. We finally leave. And I was like, we get in the car with the guy I'm working for. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And he goes, that guy, you'll see a lot of people in this business that are a little, I was like, yeah, okay. Drove all the way home to Albany, I mean. And then I'm in my car, in my Ford Escape, driving home on 87. And I see the sun coming up. Just a little bit of the sun coming up. And I was like, I was driving out here when the sun was coming up. I've officially stayed up 24 hours straight with no food and a little bit of water.
And beer.
And one beer.
You did it. Congratulations.
I was like, I survived. That was a gauntlet that I've never done.
Yeah.
Was that?
No cocaine.
No cocaine. I cannot believe, like, I was running off of pure just adrenaline and just like endogenous hormones that were keeping me going, because I was like, I'm about to die if I keep this shit up. But it was that those guys, all that I worked for, New School of Music and Public Radio.
Oh, dude, it's a weird place.
Yeah.
There's this.
I have to go pee.
Mm-hmm.
When I come back, I will tell the story of my graduation, though.
Yes,
Ooh.
this is.
Yeah,
good.
so
Let's get into it.
On some details. I'll be back.
All right, hold on. Can we take a brief intermission?
Yeah, brief intermission's fine.
Great.
It was about this band.
How much money were you guys paying to go to this fucking place?
Okay, so
All right,
I'll
wait,
give
hold
you an
on.
idea.
All right, let's time back in because
All right. Time in. Wow.
We're in. All right.
So I'm currently in debt for around 10 grand.
That's not too bad as far
No,
as college
but
goes.
Originally was
I'm
like,
at 28, bro.
Well, yeah, but I didn't go to any real schools. All right,
That's
so let's
fair.
hit the reverse pedal real quick on this.
Okay.
When in like my first semester of college, or like, so I had a semester of college and then I took a gap year pretty much. And then I went back the following fall semester.
Mhm.
With the course in mind of TV and video production, because I'm going to take all these skills. I'm going to be a filmmaker without going to film school, because I never wanted to go to art school for no reason. I'm not really sure why.
Because fuck art school.
I was afraid that it would like influence me too much, and then I would like somehow lose some sort of sense of self. But I ended up just like teaching myself a bunch of stuff I would learn in art school anyway.
You got a point there, though. I mean, art, like, that's the weird thing about art, is that the more you try to teach it, the less you're teaching it. Does that make sense? Like, it's not possible to really teach. You just kind of do it.
Well, and the you know, I never took a guitar. I've never taken a music lesson either. I've taken one and never went back. I'm completely self-taught in any musical structure as well. And I think that's allowed me a lot of boxless creation, if that makes any sense. You know, I figured them out, but I don't really play within scales often. I often try to communicate in between scales, and try to make like a counter melody almost. But just roll with the vibe of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
basically
gotcha.
all of Someday were not the acoustic guitar, but almost all of the electric guitar on Someday was pretty much improv.
Wow.
I would put him on the spot. Which one was it that I literally put you on the spot? We had no plan of doing it. That All Your Fears.
All Your Fears, and
It
it's
was
one
All Your
of the
Fears,
best guitar takes.
Yeah,
It's top 5.
I was just like, I think we were recording two completely different songs. We had no plans of doing anything with it that day. And I just opened up the file on GarageBand and I was like, all right, Ryan, ready, set, go. All Your Fears electric guitar. Right now I'm starting. And I just pressed record and he's like, fuck, all right. And he just started playing.
We did like 3 takes of it.
3 takes. 2 of them
Damn.
are combined.
And then we took
album.
2 takes and we played them simultaneously.
So this is kind of cool. So basically the electric guitar on All Your Fears is 2 guitar, especially the end part, are 2 guitar takes that subconsciously he played to accompany each other, I guess, or accommodate.
I played, hey.
So basically he did the first one, he improv'd it, and then I muted it and he just did another one. And then we realized when we played them together, they both made up one guitar line. The parts that he missed on the first one, he subconsciously played on the second one.
Oh, so you just like were able to like, you know, run them parallel. You all right? Take that part, that part, that part.
I was listening to the first take
without listening to the first one. So
I did like a take 2, but what I played on take 2 was the in between parts of what I wasn't playing on take 1. So when I play them together, they end up being like a chorus, almost like a 12-string sounding guitar that bounces back and forth between one another completely on accident.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's an end bit on All Your Fears where the electric guitar is like kind of doing this, almost like arpeggios almost.
Yeah, it sounds like 3 guitars, but it's 2.
It's 2 just playing together, but all in one line.
That's wild, man.
It's music only like amateurs could come up with.
But that's the beauty.
That's the beauty, though, isn't it?
I was talking with last podcast with ET because we've been on this book recently that I want to, like, you guys. I think if you're book readers, I don't know where I put my copy, but it's called "The Death of the Artist" by William Deresiewicz, and it's all about like how the subtitle is like how billionaires and big tech are destroying art. And it's a really interesting, like the topic is really interesting because he sort of goes into different, you know, like the history of art and our preconceived notions of art and how the artists are supposed to be separate from market influences and separate from, you know, intellectual influences and just kind of do their thing. And about how that's maybe not viable and maybe not the way art should actually be made. But there was like a little bit that I was thinking of where he talks about how the sort of freeformness, the sort of invocation of the muse of the art, you know, about how it's not really like something you can teach to somebody. It's either you have it or you don't have it. You know, you can develop a style in anything you do, and you can call it art. And it's good to know fundamentals of most things, like guitar. Like you went to the one lesson, picked up a few guitar chords and ran with that, right? But
honestly, I had already known guitar chords when I took this lesson. To be like, maybe a guitar lesson will help me, and I did it, and I was like, yeah, I don't know.
So you pick up like one little, like you pick up the foundation of whatever it is you're learning, right?
Yeah.
And then from there, learning has to be a self-driven process. There's not a lot that a teacher can really tell, unless you want to be a cover band, unless you want to do sort of mediocre, already been done type of stuff, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that's always been my problem with like doing music in school.
Yeah.
Yes, you're learning it, and technically you are learning like technique and how to play the instrument, but
theory and all that.
But you're just becoming like a mathematical musician,
mm-hmm.
where you're imitating and you're just playing what you know, and maybe you aren't tapping into your own intuition as much as you should. So there's this line I have because I am a manager of a restaurant. When I do interviews and also just as a whole, where I say, I can teach you how to make a sub, I can teach you how to bake bread, I can teach you how to work the grill, I can teach you how to count a cash drawer, but I cannot teach you customer service. And the same goes for art and music. You know, there's plenty of people who can teach themselves technical skill, but not everybody has it.
You know what really kind of...
Whatever it ends up being.
Yeah, and you can't define it.
Yeah.
I think I've seen it a lot in online. Not to talk shit. And not to say that him and I are by any means gifted musicians by any means. Again,
I think we're all right.
I would say that you guys are very talented.
But,
you guys have a good grasp on a lot of different things. You know, the intuitional side and the fundamental side. So don't sell yourself short, Rob. All right?
I think, but so not to talk shit about the people I'm about to talk shit about, but there's this subreddit I go on all the time. Anyone who knows me knows musically I'm a big fan of Kanye West. I don't think I agree with all of his personal stances, but I think musically, to me, there's been no one who's more exciting. Like, cause like you literally have no fucking clue what you're gonna get with the new Kanye West album. It could be 40 minutes of him like ripping ass into a mic. It could be 2 hours worth of electro, techno, fucking rap with like auto-tune. You never know. So I'm obsessed. I love his unreleased music. So I go on this subreddit called Yedits a lot, which is like where people edit Kanye West's music with all the leaks and all that shit. And I've never seen a group of people who like, a lot of them have kind of learned how to edit music and add track drums and generate loops and all that. But God, I think I've seen maybe 2 people who I think could actually maybe have the ability to like compose original music, because like it's such a different skill between understanding how music works and being able to line up drums with samples and looping and all that, and how to be able to create, how to put oh God, not saying these are my own lyrics, not describing my own lyrics, but putting poetry to music and making it mean something and making it have context. Not calling my lyrics poetry by any means.
So
I get what you mean.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so like, I don't know, just like, I think that like a subreddit like that is the epitome of people who probably maybe have taken a few courses and learned what their teachers taught them how to do and line stuff up. But like, not a lot of people who want to break rules and make music to have different forms and shapes and try to like manipulate different sounds or whatever to try to make people feel things. I love music that like I can hear what a musician is trying to say just by the way they're playing their guitar, or the tone of the solo, and how it's like kind of has this like kind of colder kind of feeling, and you can tell the song wants you to feel like how, you know what I mean? Shit like that.
100%.
Not super duper pretentious, but
get pretentious. Show us. Show us how you really feel, Rob.
It's just
so before I lose the question,
yeah.
For the group.
For the group.
Do you consider song lyrics poetry? Because I feel personally that they are a different category, because oftentimes the song lyrics have emotion that is relative to the melody that they are sung with. And
I would agree with that.
And there's additional emotions that are attached to it that is more than the words most of the time.
I mean, I guess to me it would depend on what your definition of poetry is. You know what I mean?
Well, poetry can just be read and stand alone.
I think there's a lot of lyrics that could.
Yes.
Yeah.
But does it not create an entirely new category when you add the melody to those words?
Yeah. Well, I think there's a reason why when people discuss rock, or not rock, just lyricists in general, they're not called poets. Well, they're not always described as poets. Don't get me wrong. Kendrick Lamar,
That's the weird part, right? The good ones are called poets, and then the
poets and writers. Yeah.
The bad ones are called lyricists. You ever notice that?
But at the same time, it's almost its own art, writing lyrics, because there's almost I think the really great, so to me, one of the great lyricists, Ryan's gonna roll his eyes. I love Roger Waters.
I knew it.
I love Roger Waters, and he has one of Babe! Yeah, anyone who's listened to The Wall and Roger Waters is screaming Babe! He's so super over the top, but
how can you have any pudding if you don't eat your meat?
So
we used to scream, bro. Before you go on, I just want to say we used to scream. Me and my buddies that were into Pink Floyd, and this is something I showed Mickey one time, and he fucking died laughing. How do you eat any pudding if you can't beat your meat? We'd run around the campus fucking screaming, "Beat your meat!" I cannot live without Mickey. Man, I had a dream about him the other day, dude.
Next time I go down to Long Island, you should come in a non-pandemic setting.
I don't know when that's gonna be. It could be a long ass time.
I'm guessing late summer 2021.
Yeah, I don't. I would say even by spring, if they don't have something like set up by spring, I might just leave here anyway. I might pick up my girlfriend and just go to Texas or something. Literally, I'll scoop right out of bed. I'll just go whoop. And then off to Texas we go.
Gonna go hang out with Joe Rogan?
Fuck yeah. Dude.
I feel like he'd be fun to hang out with.
100%, man. 100%. I don't know if he would hang out with me, though. That's the problem. But anyway, we got...
He's like pretty elite.
Yeah, he's top tier. You can't...
He's an elite everyman.
Plus, he'd probably be like, what's this
everyman thing he tries to go for, but like he's got a shitload of money, so there are things he just can't relate to.
I saw this
like he didn't like LA, so he's just like, oh, just move to Texas. Like that's just like a thing most people can just like, oh, yeah, let's go to Texas right now, whatever. I don't like rules.
I saw this thing on the internet. It said Joe Rogan is just Gwyneth Paltrow for men.
He's way funnier though. He's way funnier at least.
Gwyneth, dude, is he gonna make soap smells like his dick hole?
Oh yeah, what the
remember
fuck?
That? Remember Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina candle?
The thing, yeah.
Vag goop.
Yeah.
Goop. Vag goop.
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 The goop. Goop is like, goop would have been I feel bad for the Onion. They lost control like 4 years ago.
They started creating reality.
Yeah. Like how
they manifested.
Decided that the Onion's reality was better than the actual reality. And that's just what we do now. I
used to spend so much time at Oneana in class reading Onion stories literally about Joe Biden back in 2015. Have you guys ever read the Onion's articles on Joe Biden back in 2015?
I've probably seen it.
They were the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It was all about Joe Biden and his 80s party lifestyle, constantly getting fucked up. He has his Trans Am, and he'd have his sunglasses on, and he'd always have a tall boy in his hand. You know, he'd be like, "Oh, I got a tall boy."
And now he's like barely forming his sentences anymore.
Yeah, no, this is not the Joe I wanted.
This is not good, man.
I wanted Jason Sudeikis' Joe Biden to be president. You know, the one who's like coming in and like, you know, like the one with the finger guns going like boom, boom, boom. You're like, you know, Uncle Joe's here. Boom, 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 sniffing people left and right.
The Joe Biden of 2004 was not the Joe Biden that we got this election.
I think it's pretty blatantly obvious. He retired when the administration ended. He retired and he went home, and then he just nope, done. I don't want to go in politics. No, let's not jump down that rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm. We're cutting it off right here.
Too much politics, but anyway. How the fuck did we get on Joe Biden? I don't know.
Bro, we were talking about creativity, and we were talking about something to do with music and poetry. Do you think music is poetry?
Oh yeah, Roger Waters. Sorry.
Roger Waters. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
No, so he's just got a really quote that I really liked where so this is also a band I like. So I'm not shitting on this style, but he was asked about Radiohead and about how Tom York, he writes very metaphorically and a lot of lyricism. That's not a word. Illiterate?
Lyricism's a word.
Yes, but
I mean, we all know what you mean.
Yeah. So
fuck it.
He asked about it, and he was like, oh, I like Coldplay, but I'm not really into that kind of writing. He's like, to me, don't fill it up with bullshit. Be direct. Say what you're trying to feel. And I feel like a lot of people get so caught up in trying to look intelligent and write nice sounding lyrics with like metaphor and all that, that they kind of lose what they're saying. So
They lose the forest.
I've got a guy who writes like this. I don't know if you guys have ever heard him. It's his, oh God, what's the name of the band? I think it's JD, oh fuck. So anyway, the owner of the New York Knicks is a musician, and he has a band. His name is James Dolan. He's terrible. And he is the epitome of just writing words that rhyme to music.
Damn.
He's got this one song called I think it's Gotta Find a Church. What I'm saying right now is probably going to get me banned from ever going in Madison Square Garden.
You think he's listening to my podcast, bro? I'm honored that you think we have that type of reach. But...
No, it's not even that. This dude is notoriously petty. He once banned a fan for life for like flipping him off at a game.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, do you really want to go see the Knicks anyway?
No, not at all.
As far as teams go, I can think of like 15.
I'm a Celtics fan. Fuck the Knicks.
Exactly.
But no, but like, yeah, no, I think there's an art itself to lyricism where writing good lyrics, you have to have not have to, but I guess in my opinion, kind of you have to. You have a meaning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Say something with your...
Say something. And not only that, like, for me, this is why hip hop is the type of music that I make and love and listen to all day, right? Is because the lyricism in hip hop, you can't, if you broke it to answer your question, yes, I do think they're different art forms. And here's why. If you took, for example, like Pop Smoke lyrics, and you printed them out, and you tried to, remember that time we were chilling? You know exactly where I'm going, Ryan. Remember that time you were in my room and you were reading a Biggie song in like a jazz hop poetry type of way? Yeah. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4.
Of course.
So it was just like, you can't, like, it's got to be, lyrics have to be in the context of the music, right? That's why lyricism is different than poetry. If you were to print out a Pop Smoke song and you were to sit there and be like, Christian Dior, I'm up in all the stores. When it rains, it pours. You know, people would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But when you play that on the song, when you play the song, there's a meatiness to it and an honesty to it. And that's why I think it's even, hip hop to me is the most honest genre of music, because it's really just, it might be flamboyant, it might be over the top, but it's honest. He's saying, here's what I'm doing. I'm throwing money at hoes. I'm smoking weed. I'm drinking. I'm having a good time. It's and they're talking about the most immediate experience without any metaphor. Now, metaphor can be cool, and I like some metaphor, right? But if you're talking about how to directly communicate, how to get the word across that you want to say to as many people as you can, the lyrics in hip hop, like you mentioned Kendrick Lamar, there's nothing better really to get that message across, you know?
I remember one of the most honest songs I've ever heard. I think I played it for you once years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to plug them again. But there's an unreleased Kanye West song called I Feel Like That.
Mm.
So we all know we all know that this dude is, suffering from bipolar disorder, and it affects him pretty heavily. Back in 2014, I want to say, he made a song called I Feel Like That, where he basically just, actually, you know what, hold on, let me look up the lyric. Let me find the lyrics for it, just like read a little bit of it. Because like, it's, when you hear these lyrics, it like goes exactly with what you were saying, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good song. Anyone watching this who's never heard this song that likes like Kanye West, look up I Feel Like That. So he says, literally, here's the first verse. Do you experience nervousness, shakiness inside, faintness and dizziness? The idea that someone else can control your thoughts, feelings others are to blame for most of your thoughts, trouble remembering things, feeling easily annoyed and irritated, feeling afraid in open spaces or in public, thoughts of ending your life, feeling that most people cannot be trusted, poor appetite, heart or chest pains. I feel like this. So this is a dude like notorious for his ego. Like he has a song called I Am a God. And at one point he was like the biggest like rapper in the world. and like this
Still is to some extent, you know.
So,
Like,
so he
he
doesn't
ran
get,
for fucking president.
He was petitioning to get himself put in the Bible.
he doesn't get the
point.
biggest sales anymore. That's definitely Drake. But in terms of
Yeah.
pop culture impact, it's got to be Kanye West. Everything he does is a headline. Everything.
And to make that argument when we're talking about lyrics and poetry, right? The way you just read that, to me, it kind of sounded like a commercial for erectile dysfunction. Right. If you experience these, blah, 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 call your doctor, right? But if you play it in the song, man, it becomes a whole different thing. It becomes like, oh my God, I feel that. You know what I mean?
You could take the lyrics of like any song off of To Pimp a Butterfly.
Yeah.
And just read them out, and it will work. Because the way Kendrick Lamar writes, he even calls himself, he says, I consider myself a writer first, then a rapper.
Yeah.
And you'll have guys like you said, Pop Smoke, like Kanye, where they are just very good at writing lyrics. I'd even say Kanye's older lyrics were more closer to that kind of poetic style, like on his first 2 or 3 albums. And then as he got bigger, he changed his writing format to be more lyrical. In the sense that,
that's a good point. So maybe we got to nuance it a little bit and say it depends on the angle from which you write, whether lyrics are poetry or not, right? Like I think originally my argument was like, no, it's a different thing. But I'm thinking now that we're talking about it more, I'm like, it seems to me that depending on how you write music, lyrics can be poetry or just part of the music.
Oh yeah.
If you're like me, for example, if you make a beat and then you write lyrics and melodies to the beat, that's sort of the general style that I use. That would be just lyrics. But if you're somebody like Kendrick Lamar, who sits down and writes a poem and then adds that poem to an already existing beat or something like, creates a beat around that poem, then I guess he's more of a poet.
I guess that's how we made our music.
I don't know. We do both. A lot of the times, though, because the song lyrics end up changing shape a lot as we write the music. But the lyrics do 89% of the time come first for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would write the songs first with kind of this idea for melody.
And then we would completely fuck it up as we tried to write it.
Yeah.
Musically, I mean. And then the song would just continue to evolve until we found something that we were happy with, and then we would just make that better or try to.
I don't think there's a single song on the album that ended up sounding like or any of the songs I wrote on the album. I don't think a single one of them sounded like what I had originally imagined. But I don't think there's a single song that I don't think is better for it. Because all my songs were just we wrote most of the songs back in 2018. So that was a heavy Pink Floyd summer for me. So everything I had imagined,
AKA dropped a lot of acid that summer.
I did.
So everything I wrote just sounded like a shitty Roger Waters ripoff.
And everything I wrote sounded like a Father John Misty.
Yeah, holy shit.
So All Your Fears was a Father John Misty song. It was piano centric and everything. And then we recorded it. It took like 1.5 years for it to change, but it's a completely different song now.
Yeah. Well, I remember I fell asleep when we were recording the original version.
Literally fell asleep.
No, okay, so in context, we'd also been recording for like 7 or 8 hours.
Literally the entire day.
I had not eaten all day. So I was exhausted. So I'm sitting there just holding the mic. And Ryan's playing it on the piano, and it's like a 5-6 minute long song, and it's just
it's the same tempo the entire time.
Doesn't change.
It quickly became like one of the most boring songs on the entire album.
So I was just we're recording, and I'm just like, and then I remember Ryan just was like, Rob, like you just fell asleep during recording. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I don't think the song is working. And I was like, Ryan, you might be right.
That's a pretty good indicator. If I've had songs like that too, where like I'm writing it and like something's not clicking. There's just something that's not working. And then after a while, you're like, you know what? Fuck it. In the trash. In the trash that goes. I don't care. You know what I mean?
We probably cut a good 30% of the lyrics off of Someday after we had recorded it.
Wow.
Like if you ever, I don't know if you even have it anymore. If you ever go back to the oldest version I ever sent you, which had to be like back when they were demos.
It's way deep in my email. I'm sure I could find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you compare it to like the final version or like the about to be released version I sent you like a few days ago, there's probably about 30 to 40% less lyrics on it.
Yeah.
We got to a point where instead of just trying to force them to make them work,
We started using the instrumentals, and what really
its own thing.
really helped finish the album, and this was a lot on Rob, but I do take credit for helping come up with the idea. Is we started using vocal layering a lot more. And Rob's backing vocals, in my opinion, became an instrument all on their own. A couple songs, I actually, it sounds like a vocal theremin at times.
Wow.
Yeah, it's, and for a while.
Watch out, that's going to end badly.
Fine.
Sorry, I'm fussy.
Professional.
You can see which one's the mom and which one's the dad in this particular band.
Yeah, you fucking mom. Call me father.
No.
What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, just making someday. Vocal layering.
Oh, right.
Asshole.
Which was really when someday, I think, and it took me some time to be comfortable with it, honestly.
It sounded like a bad Beatles cover.
But so when you really started getting into remixing and re-recording your layers of backing vocals and putting auto-tune on it, there was a period in time where you could really, really, really hear the auto-tune, like in the middle of this creation process. And I was like, damn, like, we're almost there, but I sure hope we don't stop right now, because, and what we ended up at is, and I just listened to it the other day, or what you ended up with.
No, you were there, because the best thing about, I think, the creative process for making Someday is that me and Ryan have known each other going on almost 10 years at this point. Holy wow.
Yeah.
And basically our entire friendship has always revolved around us wanting to make shit together.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned years ago how to just honestly criticize each other.
That's important.
The second or third band practice we had, or writing session we had, I brought a song over from a previous band. The song was called Walk Down, and I played a recording I had of it for Ryan, and he tore it apart lyrically. I wrote the lyrics, and he tore it apart. We went line by line, and he explained to me why he didn't like it, what was bad about it. He's never torn apart a song like that since, but
what it turned into is now one of my favorite songs of ours.
Yeah, no. So it turned into a song on our album Someday called Paper Box House, and it's a way better song for it lyrically. And it just established early on that there could be, because I'll be the first to admit, especially years ago, I used to be very sensitive about my art, the shit I would make, and
you could say art, man. You're an artist.
For your art.
Whatever I would make, and people's reactions to it. But that was, I think, a really big moment for me personally in terms of like, all right, that it can't get. I probably sound like I'm like hyping it up, but like no, it was a good 15 minutes of Ryan just ripping me a new asshole in terms of my writing ability, but I could take it. And it kind of established a tone in our band that, if something's not working, you just say it.
Truthfully, in our last couple phone conversations, mostly arguments.
Even arguments, just
disagree. I get what you're saying.
Not even disagreements, because we ended up.
So we do this thing where one of us will do it, and I think I was the one who did it the last couple of times, where somebody will have an idea or will start talking about something, and then the other one will take an extreme. I mostly do this. And then because oftentimes I want to do something completely raw and off the cuff, and you just have to fucking just dive right in and fuck everything else around you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rob has to reel me in, and sometimes I have to push Rob off a ledge because he's afraid to go off it.
I'm the horses guy.
So
I'm definitely
like,
the horses guy.
no, but that's a great, like, what you guys just highlighted is a great dynamic, right? We got the person who likes to take, play it safe and likes there to be structure and likes there to be cohesion. And then we got the fucking wild child who likes to just, like you said, dive off the cliff, right? Now, if it was just the safe person, you'd just be a Beatles cover band. But if it was just the wild child, you guys would be an experimental synth orchestra that nobody ever wanted to fucking listen to, right? So the two of you combined creates a very important and sort of like, oh, that was weird. Did you hear that?
I don't know how to
It
mute
went like,
my texts. They keep like coming into my laptop. I don't know how to mute it.
You don't. We're forever in the cloud now, Rob.
Yeah, Apple's got me.
no, but you know what I'm saying though? It's like,
Apple.
it's
By the
like
way, our entire album recorded on an iPhone. Apple sponsor us.
Apple.
You fucking corporate pig.
Oh my God, stop. All
Yo,
right,
you're
hold
getting
on.
blown the fuck up.
I'm going to see if I can mute this somehow. Hold on.
You can go in messages and you can just like disconnect it for a second. Go in your system preferences.
Preferences. There we go.
Yeah. Go to messages.
Okay. iMessage.
Or just, you could also put your phone on airplane mode. That'll help prevent it.
Oh, wait, here we go.
Yeah.
Don't play sound effects. Don't autoplay sound effects. Don't notify me. Don't notify me.
Wow, he's making some real demands, huh?
No.
Jesus.
Don't autoplay. Don't message me.
Don't autoplay. Don't want this bullshit.
Don't look at me.
All right,
Don't
there we
talk to me.
All right, I
I
think
take my chai
There we go.
latte with 2 sugars.
One time I was in line at Dunkin' Donuts and I could like, you guys ever like kind of try to see like people's reactions to having to sit in the drive-thru in front of you? So like I could, you can kind of see their face a little bit in the side view mirror. You can usually kind of tell how late that person is by the way they're like kind of tapping on their wheel and like a long wait in the drive-thru.
Mm-hmm.
I had this one lady who like pulled up to the drive-thru in front of me and I could tell she was definitely running fucking late. I don't know what the lady at the window told her, but she got pissed, accepted it for a moment, and I think ran through the logistics in her head. I see her slap her wheel again, it just peels out. I don't think she got her stuff. I think they told like, hey, like you're sandwiching me an extra 2 minutes, and she's like, oh, okay. She's like, God, I don't have 2 minutes.
Who the fuck does it? See, that to me, like, the amount of, this is one of the things that I've been sort of experiencing with the pandemic, right? The amount of people in a hurry trying to get somewhere or driving like an asshole or being paranoid and all over the fucking, like, dude, it is I can't walk out of my house without people being insane. I'm like, something shifted
Like permanent.
something shifted that didn't shift inside of me, but shifted inside the society. Where I walk out of the house now and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
It's general
It's
unease.
pandemic.
This is what I've been talking about for years. This is the current climate that creates the Civil War. That's
Mhm.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember I saw a meme that said Donald Trump's militia, and it was back in 2019. And it was
I remember this. I saw this.
it was like a bunch of like fat white people on like motor scooters with MAGA hats on. But now if someone said that to me just a year later, I'm like, holy shit.
Well, you gotta hand it to the Democrats, man. I don't mean to get political, like you said. Fuck political, but you gotta hand it to the left. They are very good at marketing Donald Trump supporters as fat, disgusting, scooter driving motherfuckers. You know, they're really good at that.
No, I was saying to my dad the other day, I was like, sometimes I wonder if like Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi are actually like friends behind closed doors.
Oh, they're lovers, bro. They make sweet love
The same thing.
on a pile of dead babies.
They exist to piss off the other side and take the heat for, because like if you ever ask someone on the right who like the main villain of the world is, it's Nancy Pelosi. And if you ask someone on the left, oh, it's Mitch McConnell. So like, I ever wonder, like, do you think they like kind of have an agreement with each other? Like, hey, like, I know what you're doing what I'm doing. Like,
I know what the Antichrist is going to be. The Antichrist is going to be when Mitch and Nancy mold into one person, right? With giant old lady titties and a giant like ball sack chin, and they're gonna and it's the birth of the Antichrist.
An invincible person.
Have you guys ever seen the website? I forgot who this dude by, but there's this website out there.
Meatspin.com.
Yes. Okay, so if there are any children watching, meatspin.com is a really cool flash action game. Just type right in and hop in there. My friends, when I was in 6th grade, told me to do this. They told me it was a flash game that you could play. It was really fun, but it's really violent, so don't play it when your parents are home. That's what was told to me.
Uh-huh.
I'm giving that, I'm passing on that advice.
There we go.
Advice.
But I remember finding out about meatspin.com for the first time.
Dude, do you remember? I don't know if you've ever seen
12,
one.
I think.
I think I was like 10. Yeah, it was like real young.
It was a GIF. I forget the name of it though. And it was
it George
GIF,
Bush?
And there was 2 girls. And it's not 2 girls, 1 cup. It was.
That was high school.
But
for me.
but
that
it
was high
was.
school.
But this one was.
I saw one little clip of 2 girls, 1 cup and threw up immediately.
The one that I got, I couldn't close the window, so I had to watch the whole thing.
Oh.
Remember when the internet? Remember how spammy it used to be compared to now?
But wait, dude. So there was this video.
Yeah.
And this girl was in a bathtub and her ass was in this other girl's face, and an entire banana shoots out of her ass. And it's on a loop. And in the background, you've got Gwen Stefani going, "This shit is bananas."
Shit is bananas. Oh my God. On that note, boys, I think now's a natural stopping point. Tell the world where they're going to be able to find Cellophane in the near future.
Yes. So we're hoping to have an EP out by the end of this year. It's going to be called Telescope or Looking Through the Telescope or some variation of some name that we come out with. That will hopefully be out on 12/31/2020. Then next year in the spring, we will hopefully be releasing our first full-length album someday.
Hell yeah.
Then yeah.
That's what's up. And any pages you want to plug? Instagram, Facebook, YouTube? Nothing in particular? Nothing?
HTTPS the
colon
dash
/
meatspin.com. Everything you need right there.
Yo, you sponsored by meatspin.com, homie.
Oh my God.
Motherfucker.
Someone's gotta own that domain.
All right, boys. Everybody on Earth, please send your love and your views to Cellophane. They're going to be doing an amazing live performance for next week's episode. And I can't fucking wait to hear it. I love you guys.
Much love.
Peace.